Why do you keep saying we when you're not foundational to this country? Imagine if I go to your country and imagine if I go to,
hold on.
No, listen. Okay, where your parents from? Where your parents from? I'm sending it for the guy. Where your parents from?
My parents are from Jamaica, but I never was raised in Jamaica.
All right, so let me say this. You're first generation over here. You come across as very arrogant, extremely arrogant. You just got here yesterday, and you telling us who been here since the 1817 whatever, what we need. Maybe that's what you don't need. Well, how you gonna tell me what we need?
Chesley Major. Chesley Major.
Chesley Major. Chesley Major.
Chesley Major. Chesley Major.
Peace and blessings goes out to the fam. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate your time and all your support. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoy the content. Today, I got some video and some clips, and it's all about these tethers. These tethers are all online, just saying anything they want to say, spewing all this hate and negativity towards FBA. Yeah, the Africans and the Caribbeans, Hispanics, all of them, they lost their mind. They think they can come to this country and tell Black Americans what we need to do when they couldn't even do what they needed to do in the country they're from. These people are guests or first generation at best, trying to tell us what we need and what we don't need, like reparations. See these tethers? They're only here to undermine what we got going on, disrespect and talk down on Black Americans. But this young lady got put in her place, rightfully so. Check this out.
As you all know, as mentioned, I was born here in the States, but both my parents are Caribbean. So I'm not what you would call foundational Black. But as I was just explaining to a sister of mine, we are all united in this disproportionate disarrangement, disruption of our culture. And although you may have good intentions of wanting to build the identity of Americans here in this country, because a lot has been withheld, that doesn't mean that we have to be divided and that we have to be torn apart. Like, at the end of the day, everyone went through trauma. Jamaicans, a lot of trauma in the slave trade. A lot of that. That's where buck breaking came from. So it's not a matter of if you're not foundational Black, then you shouldn't have this or you shouldn't have that. Because just because someone else's trauma isn't the same as yours, that doesn't mean it's not valid. But what we need to remember is by asking and begging for reparations or permission for anything, or even saying with the Essence Fest, oh, you're showing other cultures and you're not standing on the cultures that really started this event, you are disproportionately cutting yourself out from the bigger picture. You are stifling your own self. And you are always stronger when you are together. When you divide yourself and you go into conflict and then you go begging other people for things to give you freedom, that's going to keep you in the horrible loop that got you stuck here in the first place. Today, right now, if you don't like what someone is doing, you don't have to participate. I didn't come from a rich background. I grew up in a single mother household. I had oppression from religion, and I had to overcome a lot of things. I had an abusive marriage. I had all types of stuff going on. I was a teenage mom. I didn't graduate high school. I could easily still be in the hood and in the ghetto. But I chose to rewrite my story, and instead of asking anyone for permission, I took control of my life. So we don't need reparations because everything is out there for you to get. Everything's out there for you to get.
Hey, why do you keep saying we when you're not foundational to this country? Imagine if I go to your country and I tell, imagine if I go to,
hold on.
No, listen. Okay, where your parents from? Where your parents from? Ascending Infinite God. Where your parents from?
My parents are from Jamaica, but I never was raised in Jamaica.
All right, so let me say this: you're first generation over here. Imagine if my son, I moved to Jamaica, and then my son is in Jamaica, right? So he's like the first generation that his whole life since 2 years old or whatever is in Jamaica. Imagine if he start telling the Jamaicans, we don't need this, we don't need that. You come across as very arrogant, extremely arrogant. You just got here yesterday and you telling us who been here since the 1817, whatever, what we need. Maybe that's what you don't need. But how you gonna tell me what we need? I would never go to your land. This is an honest, and I'm not trying to single you out, but you were so bold. You're so bold in what you're saying, then the energy is going to get returned to you. Why would my son go to Jamaica? And my girl is half Jamaican. Why would my son go to Jamaica and tell the Jamaicans, we don't need this, we don't need that? They will kick his black American ass the fuck out of Jamaica. You know that, right?
Here's the difference.
Who do you think you all coming here telling us what we? Like, that's crazy. You don't think that? That's the question. You don't think that?
What I'm saying is there's opportunities where, and I say we because I was born in America. I was raised in America.
You just got here yesterday. You know that, right?
Right.
If that's how you want to interpret it. If that's how you want to interpret it, that's fine. That's fine. But as I was raised with the history, with the knowledge that I was given, that I overcame the oppression. I came out of the victim mentality.
Whoa.
Because again, it wasn't just Americans or Africans that experienced the slave trade.
Okay, see, that's besides the point. Point is, black Americans would never go to Jamaica trying to undermine Jamaicans. We would never go against the grain. But let's get back into it.
Moving out of the consciousness of they owe us this and they need to give us that, it's the same carrot and stick. It's the same carrot and stick. So if it's been dangled in front of foundational black Americans, since I can't say us, right? Since it's been dangled in front of foundational black Americans for years, for eons, then something different has to be done. And in this day and age, we as a humanity, as a collective, have the ability to take control over all of that. Because at the end of the day, your oppressor is not going to give you your freedom.
I see. Okay. I see you. I disagree with you, but I see your point.
See, this has been happening for a long time, and black Americans have been letting it go on unchecked. Now, you in a country that you just got here and you just became a citizen, and all of a sudden you're against the native people, the people who are fighting for justice, liberty, and freedom for all. Same people who fought for your parents to come here so you can have a better life. And this is the thanks we get. But that's okay. That's why we are delineating. The brother had a good point. When Jamaica gets reparations, that's great for Jamaicans. I don't have a problem with that. When CARICOM pays Jamaica, that's awesome. I hope every Jamaican that had something to do with slavery gets a big bag of money. See how that goes? We'll never have beef or any animosity or jealousy towards Jamaicans for getting reparations. And if we was in Jamaica, we wouldn't be sitting up there going against Jamaicans. We'd be down for the cause. We want to see them get their just due. This lady up here speaking French, talking about we, as if her parents are from the soil, as if she's cut from the foundational black American cloth, when she's not. But for all those who are questioning why we're demanding reparations, check this out.
A person that never was a slave deserve compensation from a person that never owned a slave.
Bank of America and much of the U.S. financial system were built on the profits from slavery, using enslaved people as loan collateral and even owning them when debts weren't paid. These same institutions, which grew into billion-dollar corporations from the slavery of our ancestors, continue to uphold systems of institutional racism that today prevent Black people from building generational wealth. The horrors of slavery didn't end with emancipation. They left deep scars that still shape the lives of Black people today. This inherited trauma, known as post-traumatic slave syndrome, is rooted in generations of violence, ripped apart families, and stolen identity. It continues to affect mental health, family relationships, and the overall well-being of Black people. The U.S. government has paid reparations to Japanese Americans interned during World War II and even Americans held hostage in Iran. Yet the only people paid for slavery were the slave owners for losing their slaves after the Civil War. The victims of slavery were never paid. Our ancestors were stolen and endured some of the most violent atrocities in human history. So white people in this country could build their largely unearned generational wealth that they still sit on today, while Black people have been systemically denied the right to build and pass down the wealth we fought hard to earn for generations. Because every single time we did build, for example, Black Wall Street in Tulsa, the whites burned down the entire town and slaughtered every single Black person that they could find. You stole our ancestors. You stole their labor, which made the U.S. an economic superpower. You stole their futures. You dehumanized, brutalized, and traumatized them. Then that generational trauma was passed down to their descendants, who you continue to traumatize and brutalize with your systems of oppression put into place to limit and prevent us from creating generational wealth. And you refuse to dismantle your systems of oppression because that would be admitting that white prosperity was built on Black suffering. But you still owe for the centuries of unspeakable atrocities, because reparations are not charity. It's an unpaid debt that you owe.
And fact still remains. Reparations is a debt that is owed to Black Americans from the years of atrocity. So cut the check. Stop playing. And we're not begging or asking for nothing. We're demanding what is owed to us. This is our land. We built this country. This country was put on our backs and we carried it. All of the years of free labor that people benefited off of and became rich and wealthy, that's what built America. And now you got all these illegal immigrants and legal immigrants coming over here, Mr. and Mrs. Johnny Come Lately, talking about, oh, you don't need reparations. Shut up and be quiet, nigga. Work harder. When you wouldn't even be in this country if it wasn't for Black Americans' hard work. You got your behind over here, boot licking, kissing all kind of rump for butter biscuits, and they giving you the boot. You gotta go. Got your little Honda Accord, you know, your little Corolla, and your apartment, and you swear you a success story. Man, we've been doing that forever over here in the United States. What we don't need is more tethers coming over here to undermine us and the situation we got going on already in this country. But anyways, that's all I got, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Don't forget to hit the like button. Leave a comment. I would love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for joining me. Lock in with me on the next video. Peace.